Welcome to another episode of Baking for Change. I'm your host, Wendy Pauls, and I have two special guest bakers with me today, Jia and Joyce from SweeTooth Bakery in Hamilton. I am so excited that you guys are here with me today. I've got a sneak peek at some of the things we're going to be preparing, but it's going to be so new for me, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty new for a lot of our people at home as well. So tell me a little bit about your business, and I know, Joyce, you have your own business as well. So tell us who you are, where you are, what you do. Give us a little overview.
Well, we're just very glad to be here. We're excited about what we're going to do. This is something new for all of us. We have an Asian fusion dessert shop called My SweeTooth in Hamilton on Main Street. That was opened the year of COVID.
Wow.
Joyce is one of the few people that visited us on the first day of our soft opening.
Amazing.
January the 8th, 2020. Yes. I cannot forget that day. We just saw that the city needs some Asian fusion desserts. We love to enjoy good dessert, but couldn't find them in the city. So we decided to make our own. After years of preparation, we picked the lucky year of 2020 to open our shop, which later we knew was going to happen that year. But with all the help of our community, and then we put in a lot of work, we made it happen. And our shop has been up and running for more than 3 years now.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And then last year, because during a trip to Japan, we fell in love with Mochi donuts. We started making Mochi donuts and started the second shop called Momoco Donuts. And Joyce just recently did an article for us in The Spectators. Thank you again for helping us along the way with all of our businesses. So here we are today. We're going to bring some Asian fusion desserts to all of you. And especially if you're watching and you have a sensitivity to gluten, to dairy, you want to have a nice Asian fusion gluten-free vegan dessert.
Wow.
That's what we're going to be making.
Okay, Jia, so walk us through the rest of the ingredients that we're going to be using and get us started on the process. Oh, quick reminder. If you are baking along with us at home or want to, the ingredient list is on the Baking for Change website. So go take a look, grab your ingredients, and join us as we make this amazing dessert. Okay, please go ahead.
All right, so first off is the glutinous rice flour that we're talking about. This is the key ingredient, and don't switch out this ingredient. There are many others that you can find substitutes of, but this one, just use the glutinous rice flour.
Good.
And the second one is a cornstarch. For texture, it will make it a little less sticky and glutinous.
Oh, okay.
That's what that's for. And then here, just regular sugar, granulated sugar, we're gonna add in there to make it a dessert. Here is the liquid ingredient. We use oat milk today. At home, if you don't have oat milk and you don't mind it not being vegan, you can use regular milk to your liking.
Does it matter, skim 2%?
Doesn't really matter. Yeah, so you can just use the milk of your choice. Here we're using coconut butter because we want to make it vegan friendly for our many of our customers that requested to be vegan. We haven't had the chance to make it at the shop yet. So here to you, all of our audience watching at home, if you like a vegan dessert and haven't been able to get it from our shop, this is your chance to try to make it yourself.
And could this be substituted with something else?
Butter.
Butter.
So if you like butter, butter will do just fine in this recipe.
Okay. Good.
So we're going to start by mixing the dry ingredients together. Goes the glutinous rice flour.
And isn't it lovely when the things are pre-measured, so you just dump them in? You could do the same thing at home. And
I wonder who did the wonderful work. Thank you, Joyce.
Anytime. I can come to your home and set it up too.
Yes. And then goes the granulated sugar. And we will give that a whisk before we combine in the wet ingredient.
Okay, that's awesome. So Joyce, tell us a little bit about your business and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I run a business called The Joyce of Cooking, which started off as a food blog at first, but now I kind of pivoted towards doing cooking classes in the city of Hamilton and surrounding areas, so Kitchener, Guelph, Cambridge, and Brantford. I teach cooking classes to kids and adults. And yeah, it's been really, really fun.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes.
Now we're going to add in the liquid ingredient.
Perfect.
And is there a certain theme to the classes that you teach?
Yeah, so generally I do Asian cooking, so like sushi, dumpling from scratch. We make noodles from scratch as well. For the kids classes, it's kind of a little bit of everything because a lot of kids want to learn just like the basic stuff first. So we do even like, we have an apple pie making class with the kids, lunch back to school, meal prep ideas. So lots of different ideas. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
I would love my kids to know how to
I
pack their
know.
own lunch.
Yeah, send them my
Although they're
way.
only 5, 7, and 10, but it's
never
never
too
too early.
Okay, no, absolutely not. So what are we watching for here? So as we're mixing, does it need to be a certain consistency? How do we know if we're getting it right?
We want it to be a smooth consistency where you don't see any lumps.
Okay.
Although we're going to put it through the sieve later, but right now you want to aim for that smooth consistency.
Okay. Could it be done with a mixer?
You don't need to.
You don't need to.
Because this is the case where we don't want to whip any air into it.
Okay.
So using a hand mix is actually better. So for those of you who do not have a stand mixer, it's fine. You can make it without. It can even be made if you don't have an oven.
Oh.
Yes, because it'll be steamed later.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Okay, how's it looking?
Okay.
That looks pretty good.
After that.
Now this can go into the steamer.
Okay.
And of course you want to add enough water.
Okay, so I'm noticing this.
Steaming basket. I got it from the dollar store.
Okay. Okay.
And it works like wonders. You don't have to have a special pot, just a pot that's deep enough. And then with this little gadget.
Okay, so as long as this is big enough to fit whatever dish you're cooking, it sits on this in the water.
Yes. Yeah, and if you don't have one of these and you don't want to buy one, you can actually just scrunch up like 3 tinfoil balls and put it on the bottom. The goal is for the plate to not touch the water pretty much. So you need to just elevate it a little bit.
There you go. There's no reason not to make it. And then the dish can go in. This goes on for 20 minutes.
Amazing.
Get out. Now we can remove the plastic film.
Wow.
And then you can see that the dough has firmed up. It was liquidy, but look at it now, right? It's the dough. And what we're going to do now is that we will be putting in these coconut oil in here. And we want to use the residual heat in this dough to melt the coconut butter and also to coat the dough with it so it doesn't dry out. The coconut oil has completely melted into a liquid form. So we will just need to work that into the dough. That easy, work into a very sticky dough. So we'll
show us how it's done.
It can be therapeutic. So my technique is just to grab onto it like so. And
do you
mixing
think like
together.
things that upset you while you're doing it?
Actually,
like
I think
stress ball.
I actually think happy thoughts. Yeah, because your emotion will translate into your food. I'm kidding. Think whatever you want to think.
I was like, oh, is this something I need to pay attention to?
Think whatever you want to think. This is the time you can relax because this is almost like a play dough.
It's like slime.
Yeah, there you go.
On Baking for Change, we support the work of UNICEF Canada. So please visit our website and consider making a small donation to help us make a change. This is warm. It feels so nice.
Like a warm slime.
It feels therapeutic.
It is.
Yes.
Well, it looks like
watching it is therapeutic.
Yeah. Well, there's those videos of people watching sensory things. This is what we're doing now. This isn't just a baking show. This is whatever that's called. I don't remember.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yes, exactly. And if we were quiet, you can actually hear the sound.
Right.
The squishy sound.
Now the dough is ready when all the coconut butter or butter, whatever that you're using, is absorbed. And we can scrape it off with a bench scraper, with a dough scraper.
What's next?
And I will show you the texture of this wonderful dough.
It's beautiful. It's shiny.
Yes. And then you can see how stretchy this is. And there we go.
If there's kids watching, they are going to want to have their hands all over this.
Absolutely.
You might have to offer this in your classes.
Yeah,
seriously.
The kids will love it. Now we can divide this dough in half and put color in half of it for our orange mochi. The other half.
Look at how that's sliced.
I know.
Wow.
And the other half we will be making this year is the year of rabbit, so we'll be making rabbit mochi.
I can't wait.
Yes.
We've divided the dough
Yes.
into two because we're doing two different variations.
That's right.
And you have a silicone
Silicone will be your best friend, so no sticking. As you may have noticed, working with a mochi dough is all about not to get it to stick to you or the counter or any surface to make
But hopefully you've had fun getting in there and feeling that dough.
That's right. It is a fun
It's a great
texture.
experience.
So now I'm going to add some food color it can be liquid, can be powder. I find that the liquid food color will combine a little easier. So go for liquid food color if you can. Now we're going to add a little to begin with because you cannot take color out. You can always add in. So let's begin with
another great tip.
There we go, just like salt. So we can start with that, and Joyce will be helping to mix it in. And we want to aim for a wonderful orangey color.
We're remembering grade school where we learned that to make the color orange, we mix red and
That's
yellow.
right, because
Yes, there's all kinds of learning on this
There
program.
you
It's
go.
not just about baking.
It's a science show. It's a
That's
craft
right,
show.
that's
It's
right.
everything.
Can you use natural food coloring?
Absolutely. I do use strawberry powder when I want to color it pink, or ube powder if I want to color it in a slight purple color, or matcha if you like a green color.
Ooh. So this is just more work about getting that color mixed in there.
Stretch it, fold it.
Okay, that color is looking great.
Looking like an orange.
Yeah.
We are almost done with the mixing.
Okay.
Good job.
Got my arm workout in.
And there
You
you go.
did. And
Thank
your
you,
color
Joyce.
mixing, color matching.
There you go.
Perfect. So now we're going to portion this dough into about 40 grams each. It's okay if it's more or less. But if you're starting this for the first time of wrapping a mochi, have a little more, because you can always, after you wrap it, you can take off the excess. It's easier to wrap with a slightly larger dough than a smaller. Just like if you're wrapping a steamed bun or dumplings or pierogies, because you do that daily, right? So
Every day.
yes,
Every day.
handmade pierogies, handmade dumplings every day. So we will start portioning this, and you can portion it by cutting it with a dough scraper, or like I do, you portion a little bit, and there we go.
It's almost like you've done this before, you know?
Once or twice.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep on portioning the orange dough and the white dough until we have about, I'd say 6 or 7.
I'm going to give people at home a guideline. Do you think that's close to a golf ball?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Close
Okay.
to,
Okay.
Perfect, yeah.
So if you're not weighing it, that would give you a bit of a guideline visually for the size you might be aiming for.
That is super helpful. Okay, so the last one here. We were able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish out of
7-ish.
7. The last one is a little small. And then moving on to the white dough.
And you were saying making sure that they don't stick together as well, right?
Oh, that's right. They will spread out slightly, not as much as if you're baking a cookie, but they will spread out slightly. So you want to leave some space in between. And they will spread out more if they are hotter. So it depends on the temperature of your dough. When in doubt, just leave a little more space.
All you home bakers, we hope that you have been baking along with us. And we would love to see your photos. Take a photo and send it to contact@bakingforchange.ca. We might feature it on the show, on the website, on social media. So send in those photos today.
This is when the cooked glutinous rice flour comes in handy, as you can dip your dough in it. If you've ever rolled like a wrapper for dumpling or pierogies, it's a similar way. You want to dust it in the flour and then roll it out so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin.
That is the cutest little rolling pin. Such a baby rolling pin.
This is my special mochi rolling pin. I have one for my mochis, and I have one for my dumplings. They cannot be interchanged.
Oh,
Has
and
to stay.
why? Just that's your preference.
Just because. Every baker has their little thing that they do, and for me, it's separating your rolling pins for different purposes.
And how will we know when it's
a
rolled
good
out
size?
enough? Yeah.
So one thing working with the mochi dough, you do not want to press too hard, like any dough, because if you press too hard, it'll become really thin. It'll be easy to break. So you want it to be thin, but not too thin. Gently press down. You can rework this dough. If it doesn't turn out to be exactly how you want it to be, you can roll it up into a dough and roll it out again. So
it's sticky, but it's forgiving.
Yes, it is forgiving. At least it's forgiving, right, for how sticky it is. So add more of the cooked glutinous rice flour as needed, but not too much. We are going to dust off as much as we can later as well. This is about a good size for our orange. So the moment of truth, we'll see if I can successfully wrap up our orange in this.
The pressure's on.
Hello, orange, please cooperate. So here goes.
Okay, so just pulling it around, kind of pinching it at the top.
Yes, and what I'm trying to do here is that to gather it at the bottom, if you can see.
Looks like a pumpkin.
Right? Oh, you can do this with
Yes,
Thanksgiving or
yes.
Halloween. Look
That's
at
what I'm
this.
thinking.
Wendy ideas. So you know what? We will make one of them into a pumpkin later. We'll
so
make a
cute.
jack-o'-lantern. How's that?
Oh, yes.
Let's do that. So the excess, you can just cut it off with a pair of scissors, which we have handily right here. Do you think you can do that? I think you can do that. And then the
think you can
part
do that.
where you cut it off can be sticky. So guess what? Here comes to our best friend.
Another good tip. Another good tip.
Yes. So this, you just want to round it off a little bit. It doesn't have to look perfect. You just make it to whatever smooth level that you want it to be. Don't be too hard on yourself.
I think eating this is going to be interesting.
It will be. Well, I have a fun way of cutting it later too, which I'll show you. So we will dust off the excess, just so that we don't have a lot of glutinous rice.
This is like an art. It really is.
To make it look more like an orange, we're gonna use that little clove and then poke it into the top of it.
So cute.
So
There, it
cute.
looks like a little orange. What we're going to do is that we will get about 20 grams to 30 grams of the red bean paste. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. About half of the size of our mochi dough, or more or less if you prefer or don't prefer the taste of it. We're going to try to find some smaller strawberries and wrap them up with the red bean paste.
Looks like a little meatball almost.
Yeah, there you go. This is
Don't use ground beef though. That
would be good.
Gross.
So we will be wrapping them up right now. These two flavors combine really well together because the strawberry tends to have the sour. It can be a little sour, a little sweet.
Yep.
The azuki bean paste tends to be a little sweeter. So together, the flavor and taste would be wonderfully paired
balance.
together. Yes. And while Joyce is helping us to get that ready, I will just roll out more of these white color mochi dough so we can make some bunny mochis.
Can you use the mochi dough for a savory wrap?
Ooh.
Could you do something savory inside?
Interesting question, because I've never thought about it and I don't think it's a common thing. Well, I shouldn't say that. In some part of China, I know that they do wrap up ground pork filling, like a dumpling filling inside a mochi and boil it in the southern parts of China. It's not as common as a sweet mochi, but you can do that. I think I'll need to work out a recipe for you guys.
Well, I think the meatball got me thinking about what if
You
we
know
did
what?
wrap the
I
meatball?
think in the past thousands of hundreds of years in Asia, someone has figured out how to make it savory. I have done it.
I'm not original.
No, but see, like great minds think alike. You come up with a great idea of making it savory and how creative that is. I've known that though, people have made ground up peanuts with some black sesame and sugar and wrap it up in the mochi. That's a great feeling as well.
Yeah, that would give some texture.
Crunchy,
Yeah,
yes.
I like that.
The crunchiness and the nuttiness. It's a wonderful dessert. And another alternative that you can use as the non-stick part, you can use a shredded coconut. That is also a common thing to use to so prevent it from sticking. and add a bit of taste and texture.
So that would go like on the outside?
Yes. You know how after we make the mochi, we tend to put some of the flour on the outside so it doesn't stick to the liner or get too sticky. We can use shredded coconut.
Great idea. I love coconut.
There
Okay,
we go.
you used a little dish we didn't use last time. Where can people get this little dish?
You don't have to get the exactly one that I'm using. If you have a smaller sauce dish, whatever, you got a little mold, you can use it. It'll make your life easier, but you don't have to. I only do it because I want it to be perfect. But I'm kidding. No, you don't have to use it. It just comes in handy to help you to wrap things together.
Makes it easier.
Yes. So Joyce is going to help me to
Just gonna put our meatball.
Yes, the filling inside, and now I'm going to just wrap it up. The goal is to leave no air bubble between the filling and the wrapper, but like again, is really
That probably takes some practice.
yeah, and which is okay because if we use a round mold, it'll come out round, right? So there we go. It's the base of the little bunny. But what we're going to do now is to add the details. We'll add some little ears.
Now it's sticking.
Yes. And the plastic wrap is sticking now. So the way I do it to ensure the 2 ears are the same size, I always roll out a little log of like an even thickness, and then we can cut them. With a skewer? No, you can cut it with a bench scraper or like a dough scraper. And now we have 2 little ears of the same size, roughly. And that will go on here.
Okay, now you didn't flour that. Is that on purpose?
Very good observation, Wendy. Top A student. Because you want it to stick on the mochi now. So not to make it non-sticky. Well, that was too complicated. To keep that tackiness, we don't want to flour it. And here goes, the 2 little ears. And I know that it doesn't really look like a little bunny just yet. We will be adding more details with chocolate and some strawberry powders to make it look more like a little bunny.
Goodie Goodie is a nonprofit bakery offering training and jobs for refugee youth. And here's some exciting news. If you visit our website, you can find the dates and times for our pop-up bakery, where you can stop in and buy some delicious treats for yourself and support a great cause. The location of our pop-up bakery is Community Christian Reformed Church on Bleems Road in Kitchener. So visit the website today. I want our friends at home to know what you did with this. So you've got melted chocolate.
I got melted chocolate. Yes, this is totally optional. You don't have to do this. This can also be done with chocolate sauce. You can draw with a toothpick. I just prefer to use couverture chocolate. Story of a baker, you know, you just want to use a good chocolate whenever you can. So we're going to...
Is this parchment paper then?
Yes.
You made your little cone.
You made a cone. I made a cone with it and then melted chocolate in there.
Okay.
That's just what
I just want to bring everybody up to
speed what I'm doing here,
that.
right? But you can also do this with, like I said, chocolate sauce. It won't solidify like chocolate does. That's why I prefer to use a good couverture chocolate, but you don't have to. You don't have to. And you don't have to add the ice. And you can maybe use black sesame seeds as the little ice to make your life easier. Right? It doesn't have to be complicated.
Drawing our little bunny on.
Yes. So we are going to first dot 2 little eyes. It doesn't have to be big, because if it's too big, the chocolate will drip down. So, and then we add a little nose with a little line dragging down.
How cute.
And it's not over yet. We're going to add some blush for this little bunny.
Because, you know,
just because,
bunny has to look her best.
How can you leave your house without blush on? I did. But on the left cheek, maybe a little more blush. I was not generous enough. A little blush on the left and a little blush on the right. And maybe a little bit on the tip of the ear. Just, you know. So, our little bunny.
Ladies, we have reached what I tell our friends at home every week. My favorite part of the show. I mean, I've loved watching and learning, but let's be honest, it's all about eating.
Yes.
It's about
That's
about time. That's right.
Yeah. So here we go. But you're going to show us how to actually cut these. Like I'd probably just, pick that up and bite it. And
You
it
know
would squirt
what?
everywhere.
That's what I do at home.
Okay.
But only for the sake of our show, I
Okay.
want you at home, our audience, to see how it looks like and
Okay.
then to showcase the beauty of
Please,
this
yes.
dessert.
Please show
So
us.
I would cut it this way just so that we can see the inside of the
Oh.
There.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
And
that's beautiful.
I think that the credit does goes to Peter. Shout out to Peter, my husband. Out there, you picked a good orange. It looks good.
Beautiful.
That's
Is it called
beautiful.
orange? Clementine.
nectarine. There's so many different.
It's a smaller one.
Sure,
So yeah,
sure.
that's how it looks like on
Yes.
the inside.
It's so thin too.
You can barely see
Yeah.
it. You
I
can make the
know.
mochi wrapper as thick or as thin as you like it to
Okay,
be.
that's your
Some
preference.
prefer it to be thicker, some prefer it to be thinner.
Okay.
And the thinner of it, the better skill you have. So it's like a show-off skill.
Yes.
So yeah, we can continue to cut up our little
Yes.
bunny one.
Show us how your little trick.
Yes, I have a
for,
special way of cutting our bunny mochi. And with our bunny mochi, I brought, not the knife, we won't need the knife. I don't know if you can see this. It's an imaginary thread. No, it's actually a thread that we are going to put underneath the bunny.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will be pulling on the ends.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, it cut the strawberry too.
Wow.
And now
Oh.
you have a perfectly sliced strawberry mochi.
That's impressive. I'm impressed. That was a good trick.
I've been waiting for
Yeah.
this moment
Yes.
all day.
Yes.
So at the beginning,
like,
I was like, glad it worked, because sometimes tricks don't work, but it did this time. The reason why I didn't use this on the orange one is because I was afraid that it's too not as tender
Yeah.
as the
Sure.
strawberry. It wouldn't cut through it, but hey,
Yeah.
if you're at home,
Give it
you
a
might
try.
as well try it and let us know whether it works on the orange or not.
Yes.
Right? So I guess this is time that we dig in.
It's time that we dig in. Yeah.
Go
You
for
go
it.
ahead.
Are you
had
gonna
this,
join me?
I've had this before. Joyce, do
join
you
me?
want to have the other half?
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That mochi stretch. That's what you're aiming for there. Only happens with fresh mochis.
Jia and Joyce, thank you for your time and for introducing me to mochi. I have never tried it, so it was really amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you for the opportunity to have us here to make this very Asian dessert for you. For those of you who've never tried mochi at home, you can make it at home yourself, a vegan version of it.
Absolutely worth it. And when you are in the Hamilton area, be sure to stop by My SweeTooth Bakery on Main Street and try some of the tasty treats.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Baking for Change. Special thanks to Wendy Pauls. And guest bakers Jia and Joyce from My SweeTooth, production assistant Crystal, and Community Christian Reformed Church.